Good evening, everyone. It is after 8 o'clock here in New York City. I am your host tonight for Sports, Politics, and More, Andrew Pollack. Frank Todaro tonight will not be joining us. I'm not going to get into the reason why, but yes, that's all I can say right now. So if you're wondering where is his wonderful Brooklyn accent, because we always call him wonderful, you're not going to hear him tonight. And I'm sorry for saying that, but how's everyone doing tonight? Well, I'm making it sound like a Michael Savage intro. I really am. I'm sorry for doing that, but folks, I've had a shitty week. I'm going to explain why. Since Saturday, I've been sick, all right? And you're noticing, in fact, if you watch my YouTube channel, Andy's Randomness, you noticed over the weekend when I did my Clash of Champions prediction for WWE, my voice was starting to downgrade. And then when I did my MTA rant video yesterday, you noticed I sounded sore. Well, it's not that much of a sore throat. It's just that when you have nasal congestion, and what happens with nasal congestion is it affects your throat. I've been told by multiple ENT specialists this, and I happen to agree with them. And I suggest if you're interested in this topic, you should highly research it, because knowledge is the key in life. And if you don't stay well informed, then you don't get ahead in life. And tonight at 8:30, I promise you I will read about the big win today for President Trump. Finally in 2017, his first year as President of the United States, he finally gets a legislative win. And it's about time he did so, because I have a lot of interesting articles I do want to read tonight at 8:30. And Frank would want me to read them, and he would want me to continue to read them. But also, I may have an article regarding MS-13. I don't know yet. I do want to talk about MS-13 tonight, because in Long Island today, I read this online that a couple members were sentenced in Suffolk County, Long Island today. And if I do happen to stumble upon the article, I will read it for you on the air if the time is, if there's enough time to read it. But I do want to talk about tax reform at the 8:30 report. But I figured maybe tonight I'll try a different format for the first 10 minutes, talking about sports. And I figured since this is a worldwide show, and since this is something crazy and Frank would not want me to talk about it, all I want to say is that, what is Dana White doing? That's what I want to say. Why is Dana White talking to Floyd Mayweather about possibly becoming an MMA fighter? This has to be the stupidest thing I have ever heard about. I just don't understand why Dana White is risking losing billions of dollars into putting a man in an octagon that is not even a mixed martial artist. I just don't understand that. Can someone explain to me what Dana White is thinking? And again, I have a lot of respect for Dana White. I have a lot of interest in the UFC sometimes. I will admit that, especially when McGregor gets into the octagon. But this idea of Floyd Mayweather possibly fighting in an octagon, I just don't see any logical sense on why we are even talking about this. And about an hour ago, I just found out that MMA Junkie posted this interesting article regarding an update regarding this, so I figured I might as well read it. And this is an attractive headline, everyone. Floyd Mayweather quickly shuts down Dana White's talk of UFC deal. So there you go. So even Mayweather's finally waking up and realizing that it's not worth it to try to risk losing billions and billions of dollars into something that logically cannot happen. And the only reason why I'm talking about it today is because every sports show, when you look at CBS Sportsnet, when you look at ESPN Radio, you look at Fox Sports, I'm listening all day. This is what they talk about. I understand when I make my picks at 8:15 that there's 2 weeks left in the NFL season, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be watching Red Zone on Christmas Eve, and I'm debating New Year's Eve. I might watch one solo game. I'm debating it, but definitely that's what our focus should be on. The playoffs are starting in 2 weeks in the National Football League, and all these national hosts, why are they so fascinated by this? All right, so I'm going to read the article because I want to quickly mention last week that I was cut off the air because Spectrum came to my studio and they were improving the Wi-Fi speed. And if you're noticing that my speed has gotten better and you're hearing my voice boom on your speakers right now, if you're doing laundry, if you're driving in the car right now, if you're listening on your smartphone, you're noticing, yes, my voice is better. Even though I have a cold. I mean, I'm recovering. I have enough energy to do this show. I just wish Frank was here. But anyhow, let's read the latest update from MMA Junkie. It only took hours for Floyd Mayweather to completely reject UFC President Dana White's claim that he could compete in an MMA octagon. White said earlier today that the UFC is talking to undefeated boxer Floyd Mayweather about crossing over to the octagon. Again, this is so idiotic. It's bad enough the boxing match was talked about, and yet it was a good boxing match. Floyd Mayweather in the UFC. Ugh. I don't know, why am I even reading this? I just really don't. I don't even want to read any more of this. It's just going to make me erupt. Why should I even read the rest? Why? It's not worth it to erupt on the air. It's just really not worth it. But I will say this. Enough talking about it. Let's move on. That's what I'm going to say. And while I'm at it, I might as well let you know that I am updating the teleprompter as we speak for the news at 8:30 because I want the news to be our segment. I mean, that's what everybody tunes in for at the half-hour point of the show. Either it's live or either it's on the podcast. That's what everyone looks forward to. They all want to hear me and Frank talk about the news. And yes, I might as well spoil it for what I want to talk about. And possibly I'll figure out what else I could... Oh, I know how to fill the void after my picks. Figured I'll talk about Giancarlo. That's what I'll do. Make it easier. I didn't get to talk about Giancarlo on my YouTube channel, so it would be fair to talk about it on here, right? I figured I want to give an idea of who the Yankees should be signing at second and third base. Because nobody else is going to talk about it. No one else will. So I figured I might as well do it. There we go. And I want to admit something. I have to read a CNN article regarding the Democrats. And, folks, you should be very worried that Nancy Pelosi might be getting the gavel back in 2018. I'm seriously worried, and I might as well quickly mention this. One of my personal friends who I've known for basically 10 years now, He texted me the other day and he said, Andrew, I really think Pelosi's getting the gavel back, but at least the Republicans will keep the Senate. Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to react to that text message that I got. And I'm not going to say who it was, but all I got to say is this. I know I'm very worried about 2018. I'm very worried that the Democrats are going to take over the House of Representatives, are going to take over the Senate. And what's going to happen if Republicans start losing governorships? They've already lost 2 governorships this year. Chris Christie is leaving office in New Jersey next month. And even though I've called him a mediocre guy as governor of New Jersey, because the man really is mediocre. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? And then every 4 years, Virginia somehow elects a new governor. They're like the only state in the union that narrowly does this. And then last week, it's bad enough the Republicans have only had 1 win this year. 1 major win when Karen Handel defeated John Ossoff in the congressional district in Georgia, which I forget which it is right now. I might as well bring this up before I do the 2-minute drill. Doug Jones. How is that even possible? How do you win a seat like that in Alabama? Well, I sort of happen to agree with the CNN analyst. You beat a pervert. And again, I don't want to accuse Roy Moore of that, but all I'm going to say is this. We have to learn from the Republicans have to learn their mistakes from this year. They have to regroup. And yes, today is a big legislative victory for them. But they got to figure out how they're going to keep control and try to get their supermajority next year. Because it's looking like it's not going to happen. And I will say this, if you're in Wisconsin District Number 1, if you're a registered Republican, don't you dare let Paul Ryan get 2 more years as your congressman. Yes, I understand we needed him today to pass the tax bill. But honestly, Paul Nealon is a stronger conservative. And speaking of the friend who texted me that comment, he's actually a very big Paul Nealon fan. He's told me about this. He actually told me about Paul Nealon back in 2016. So, all congressional districts are up for grab next year. Class 2 Senate is up for grabs next year. And to end my point, 33 governorships will be up for grabs next year. So let's just keep that in mind before, I rant and rave about, the Republicans are doomed and blah, blah, blah. Because for that, you could hear Rush Limbaugh for that. Because he probably would rant and rave about that. All right, so it's 8:15. I have to keep to the schedule, otherwise, if Frank's listening live, he's gonna erupt. Because I know he's listening somehow. Okay, so before Frank went missing in action, I texted him around 5 o'clock, and I asked him, Frank, can you give me my results from last week? So I figured before I play the soundbite, I will recap my scores from last week. So here I go. Last week, I won with the Ravens, thank goodness. I thankfully did. 27-10, so that's a win! That's how Frank would say it. That's a win! I lost with the LA Chargers. That's a loss. Right. I lost with the Green Bay Packers. They lost to Carolina last week, which I really do feel bad for Aaron Rodgers. I actually won because I gave Los Angeles a point to beat the Seahawks because Seattle was favored at home. They destroyed the Seahawks last week at home, so that's a win! Because Frank would be so giddy about it right now. And sadly, I'm going to have to... I picked New England, right? But here's how I lost. What happened was I gave New England -3. I didn't cover because New England won by 3 points, and we're not going to get into the controversy with that game. So, yeah, 2-3. So my overall record is 27-32. So, sadly, I want the stupid soundboard play. I swear at this thing. Oh, I got it. That's more like it. Sadly, that's where I am. So here we go. Okay. Week 16. Wow. NFL playoffs officially start 2 weeks from this Saturday, January 6th. But, I do mean but, we have to figure out a lot of playoff seedings. You have to figure out who's playing who's not going to be playing the weekend of January 6th, January 7th. So that's what we have to do in the NFL. So, here's how my picks are going to be for this week. The upsurging 49ers, led by quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, helped my Baltimore Ravens last week because Tennessee lost by a field goal at Candlestick Park. I forget the name of the new stadium, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that Jacksonville should be able to get closer to a 3-13 record. They will beat the San Francisco 49ers -4 points. Okay? I seriously think Jacksonville will win, despite the 49ers trying to give the hype about Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, how about them Cowboys? They're favored at home this week. And there's one reason why they're favored at home against the Seahawks. Just in the nick of time, Ezekiel Elliott, the rookie sensation from last season, will be coming off his 6-game domestic violence suspension. So, here's how I say it goes. Dallas at home will win -5 points. New England, they're at home this week playing the Bills. I don't see Buffalo winning because, number one, no obvious reason, New England's at home. I think this will knock out the the Buffalo Bills from playoff contention. Well, kill their momentum, but I just don't see the Buffalo Bills winning at Foxborough. So give New England -11.5. Titans are going to be at home, but honestly, I don't know how they're going to be able to stop Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley is likely going to be the MVP at this point. They have to give him the MVP because Wentz is hurt. Antonio Brown is hurt. So if Todd Gurley is healthy the next 2 weeks, which question will be, will LA get a first-round bye? I don't think they will. But I do think they will get the 3rd seed in the NFC. I think the 1 and 2 will be Minnesota and Philadelphia, but LA should wrap up the 3rd seed this week. They will beat the Tennessee Titans on the road. As far as the 4th seed is concerned, That's going to have to be up to New Orleans and Atlanta. I'm not going to pick that game. But for my lock of the week this week, Baltimore at home, minus 13.5 to beat the Colts. So there you have it. That is my picks for this week. And I figured I might as well talk about NFL playoff situations. I might as well. I mean, I only have like a couple minutes to kill, so I'm going to get the spread for the Atlanta-New Orleans game. Right now, I know this for a fact. The Saints will be at home. So what does that mean? Well, it gives the Atlanta Falcons the underdog status. Now, why are they the underdog status? Because the Saints usually do well at home. They do very well at home. I mean, you look at Drew Brees. He loves playing in the Superdome. He loves playing in his indoor environment in New Orleans. So I think I got the spread. Let me double check it. Oh, come on. Not on live radio. Oh, there we go. Ah. So New Orleans is favored -6. Come on. Do you really think the New Orleans Saints are going to lose at home this week? I don't think so. Not when you have... Oh, no. Live radio, folks. I thought somebody hijacked the broadcast. That would have been terrible. But honestly, I really think that at the end of the day, I seriously think this will happen by the end of the week, that when I come back on the air, hopefully with Frank, I expect the playoff situation to be different. And I expect the Baltimore Ravens to be the first seed for the wild card. I am wondering if they will be playing Jacksonville, if they will be playing Pittsburgh, or if they will be playing, drum roll please, the Kansas City Chiefs. Those could be the three teams the Baltimore Ravens play on Wild Card Weekend. I really don't want to get... Well, I might as well. I mean, I have 5 minutes. The AFC is in a uphole right now because you have Seattle, you have Dallas, you have Atlanta, you have Carolina, basically still in the hunt, trying to chase the wild card spots. I just don't see Seattle making it. Because once the Cowboys beat Seattle, that automatically means the Seahawks are out. Unless, maybe Atlanta loses. Maybe they beat the Saints. The Saints beat them, my bad. Alright, then maybe Seattle has a chance. But a lot of things are going to happen for that to happen. So, if I can find it, I figured I will try to look for a playoff picture. Okay, here's an article from CBS Sports. I'll quickly read it, because then it will hopefully explain the situation for both the Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. Jeez, I hate when my phone goes off during a live show. My dumb group chat. I'm trying to go down the page, folks. Okay, here we go. What? Alright. So I figured I'll sum it up first. First seed in the AFC would be New England. And that would make Nick Durst dancing for joy, because he loves Tom Brady. Second seed's Pittsburgh. Right now, here's how the wild card matchups would look in the AFC. Baltimore would be knocked out today. I don't know why. Baltimore would be knocked out today because Buffalo is still at 8-6. Tennessee is at 8-6. 6 seed Tennessee. You gotta be kidding me. Why in the world does every website... I hate echoing in my head. So, again, 6 seed Buffalo will be at Jacksonville. Jacksonville still mathematically in the hunt for a first-round bye. But honestly, I don't see Pittsburgh losing. I don't see them losing to the Houston Texans on Christmas. That's playing. So that should wrap them up a first-round bye. Unless something interesting were to happen, I don't know. But here's how I'm going to explain Seattle's path to the playoffs. Here's how Seattle would have to make the playoffs. To win the division, the Seahawks would have to win out, and the Rams would have to lose their last 2 games. Now here's the problem with that. Los Angeles is playing Tennessee, right? Okay, maybe. But here's the catch. Guess who the LA Rams have to play on New Year's Eve? They have to play the uprising of Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. Alright? And that would likely mean, because I know how it works in the last day of the season, you normally play a divisional opponent. Because I remembered this. Seattle would be playing Arizona. Right. Because every team plays a divisional opponent in the last week of the season. That's how it normally works. To earn a wild card berth, the Seahawks would have to win out, and either the Saints, Panthers, or Falcons lose out. Okay? So that's very complicated. Here's how it would have to look. The Seahawks, Falcons, and Lions all finished 10-6, battling for the same wild card spot. Seattle will lose out based on tiebreakers. To earn a wild card berth, scenario number 2, Seattle would have to win out, and both the Saints and Panthers lose out. Falcons would win the NFC South, and Seattle, with a tiebreaker over the Saints and Panthers, would earn a wild card berth. So think about that. Seattle has the tiebreaker against New Orleans and Carolina. Right, because then Atlanta would win the NFC South. So, wow, that's going to be crazy. Cowboys would have to win out, Falcons lose out, and Lions lose at least once. Maybe. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is angry that he's not making the playoffs, and at Lambeau Field this Saturday night, Detroit loses. Okay, that's a possibility. Scenario number 2, Dallas would win out, Saints lose out, Lions lose at least once. Okay, and that simply means Dallas would have to win out, and Carolina and New Orleans would have to lose out. So, can I see it happening? I don't know. Football Outsiders have 11% chance for them to make the playoffs. There is a chance, but it's very complicated. All right, so it's time for the news, 8:30. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have to play the breaking news soundbite because it's been the leading headline of the day today. All right. So, big news today.
I'm Donald Trump.
He is in a good mood today. He's in a good mood today because the Congress that represents this country, passed its first massive overhaul of the tax code. Our first one in 31 years. Wow. All right. So the headline reads today: President Trump celebrates tax reform win, but backlash is expected. A triumphant President Trump today and jubilant fellow Republicans celebrated the passage of their $1.5 trillion tax overhaul as a historic victory for the American people. The American people, however, will need to have some convincing. As Trump and GOP lawmakers gathered at the White House to cheer their first major legislative achievement and the biggest tax changes in a generation, some Republicans warned that the party could face a painful political backlash against an overhaul that offers corporations and wealthy taxpayers the biggest benefit and triggers the loss of health care coverage for millions of Americans. All right. So, basically, to make it sound smarter for dummies, because, you know, some of us are dumb and we need a little bit of education. To explain it in high school terms, because remember, I took economics in high school, so I can explain it very simply, everyone. Basically what this means is that the Democrats are accusing the congressional GOP leaders in both the House of Representatives and the Senate that the middle class will not see a tax cut. Just the large corporations and wealthy taxpayers, the super elite rich in this country. That's what they are trying to say and are making it sound bad. And when I said triggers the loss of health care coverage for millions of Americans, what I meant to say was that the Obamacare mandate that required every American to get Obamacare is now gone. And if it doesn't say it in the article, I'll say it now. They're also saying that, 13 million people could lose insurance. Well, that's how it used to be in this country, you know? And you can't just force people to get insurance. I've been saying this now for almost 8 years. I've been saying this now since 2010. Can't do that. Very unconstitutional. George Washington would have been upholded by that. So, there was no hint of anxiety at the White House, though, as President Trump and congressional Republicans pushed any qualms aside and revealed in a much-needed win at the end of the year marked by GOP infighting and political stumbles. So, let's find out what qualms are about. An uneasy feeling of doubt or worry. Oh boy, this is why I hate big words. Push any worries aside and revealed in a much-needed win at the end of the year marked by Republican infighting and political stumbles. Why do you have to use big words? Why? The president said today, "We are making America great again." Personally thanking his, quote, little team, a Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and House Speaker Paul Ryan, before lawmakers lavished praise upon a president they have openly criticized. So they basically were thanking him today. That's what lavish means. And I'm going to admit where I learned that word from. It was in college remedial courses before I dropped out. So, boy, lavish. Lavish. That's a word that's always going to haunt me the rest of my life. President said today, "I don't know if we'll have any bigger moments, but we hope to." And that hopefully means maybe in 2018 something big will happen.
Do you want to build a wall?
Or we get rid of Obamacare completely. Maybe that's what he was hinting on. I don't know, but Trump was expected to sign the bill at a later date for technical reasons, and for that to happen, the signing may be postponed until start of the new calendar year in order to delay $120 billion in ornamental cuts to popular programs such as Medicare and spare Republicans from having to explain them in an election year. Also keeping in mind, the president will be going to Mar-a-Lago sometime tomorrow or Friday. I don't know when he's going to Mar-a-Lago, but that's another reason why. They didn't talk about it in the article, but I did find out President Trump will be taking his yearly Christmas vacation to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida sometime this weekend. So that's another reason why he can't just sign the bill before the end of calendar year 2017, because this was a planned trip, of course. All right, let's continue reading. Tax package provides a deep cut in the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. On the individual side, about 80% of American households will get tax cuts next year, while about 5% will pay more, according to the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center. People who will be making less than $2,500 a year will be seeing an average tax cut of $60. $60. You know what you could do with that money? You could buy a brand new Xbox One or PS4 or Nintendo Switch game. That doesn't sound that bad. Oh, wait, we should be making hundreds of dollars in tax cuts. See, that's what the Democrats want you to believe. Those who earn between $4,900 and $8,600 will get about $900. Oh, you mean to tell me that if I'm not $50,000 a year, I'm not going to be getting $900 back in my wallet? Oh. And then this is going to be irritating to some people. The top 1% earning more than $733,000 will receive around $5,100 in tax savings. Oh. I'm sure Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are yelling at each other, saying, that's what they're probably doing. That's what they're doing, right? They must be angry. Cuts will come in a price. Congressional Budget Office predicts the legislation will add $1.4 trillion to the national debt by the year 2027. Ooh. You know, I just realized something. I don't know if this was on ABC the other day, but when I was watching World News, and I don't know which Republican went on camera and said, I'm only passing it to satisfy people. I think that's what the Senate member said. I don't know which state this was from, but I know he, smirked it off about the
$1.4 trillion that's going to be added by 2027. And any high school economics teacher will tell you this, that it does sound alarming. You know, if I was in the classroom right now with my economics teacher, he would be saying, how is this supposed to solve our trillion-dollar debt if they're only adding to it? That's what he would be probably telling everybody in the classroom right now. And keeping in mind, this would probably be in his lesson plan. He would probably be typing it up right now on his computer and telling the class tomorrow in economics class about how worried you should be about this, because they're trying to be equally fair to the class. Don't worry, I'm not calling people out. I hate to do that. Actually, my high school, my senior year was awesome. But anyhow, some of the president's strongest allies conceded that voters may not immediately warm up to the new law. And this is why I have to talk about the CNN article later on, because it's going to be very alarming on what this poll said. And again, I don't trust CNN lately, but when I read this article from the Drudge Report today, it made me sick to my stomach. Alright, so let's continue reading. Let me figure it out. Andy Serberin, a senior aide for pro-Trump supporter PAC, said today, even though we don't see positive effects in 2018, the important thing here is that President Trump sends himself to win re-election in 2020. GOP candidates and strategists alike called on the president to launch an immediate public relations tour to sell the plan to help avert an anti-Republican tsunami next year. One in three voters have supported this tax bill in recent days, according to several polls. About half of Americans believe the plan will hurt their personal finances, and in 2 in 3 voters say that wealthy will likely get the most benefits. And that's what I read earlier. But I need to read the alarming part about my taxes in New York, because it's not going to be good. Not going to be good. I'm very worried about this. The president said today as well, the first modest effect will be felt in February. So basically what the president is suggesting is that once he gets back from Mar-a-Lago, he is going to likely sign the bill probably sometime or on January 2nd. Or probably the week of January 8th. So try to circle down if you really are following this closely. Expect President Trump to sign this bill sometime between January 2nd and January 12th. So that's about 10. Hang on, let me double check this. Yeah, 10-day period. Because I have my January 2018 calendar in front of me. Because why are you asking me? Why do you already have it? Well, one, personally, I have to plan my stuff out for January in real life, and two, it makes sense to come up with a time frame. All right, so before I go to the next article, people living in high-tax states like New York and California may ultimately pay more. Among those who benefits, the wealthy will make out far better than the working class in those states. Congressman Peter King from Long Island, I know this guy very well because I know people who are represented by him in his district, said today the tax plan would hurt many people in high-tax states. The bill imposes a $10,000 cap on taxpayers who deduct their local, state, and property taxes. Wow. So that basically means that you could only write off $10,000 on your taxes starting possibly for your 2018 return. That's where it's going to be, because I don't think this should infect. Should this infect the 2017 return? That I would have to bring an accountant for on this show to talk about that. But my honest opinion, in 2018, this new regulation will take place if you're filing your taxes in calendar year 2019. So there's that factor to consider. But again, that's a good question you should be asking your accountant when you start filing your tax return for 2017 in calendar year 2018. Will I only be able to cap off $10,000 on my tax write-off? That's what you should be asking your accountant next year, all right? Yeah, exactly. Show the cap, the deduction for state and local taxes at $10,000. So just ask your accountant. That's the best way I would do it, because I can't really answer it that simply. But all right, so companies today have been taking advantage of the big news. AT&T and Comcast, along with Wells Fargo and Fifth Third Bank Corp., these big corporations announced today that bonuses and minimum wage hikes are going to be taking place in 2018. So let's read this. AT&T is paying bonuses of $1,000 to more than 200,000 U.S. employees. And the CEO of AT&T said today that it was a response to the tax reform. So there you go. If you work for AT&T, you should be smiling right now that I'm giving you this positive news that you'll be making $1,000 more, but not going to be good for your taxes. That's all I'm going to say. AT&T said today that it would give more than 200,000 of its U.S. workers who are union members a special bonus of $1,000. The company also increased capital expenditures budget by $1 billion today here in the United States. So there you go. AT&T will be doing this. They're going to give a lot of employees an extra $1,000 because this tax reform went through. Let's see. Later in the afternoon, Comcast said it would give a special $1,000 bonus based on the passage of the tax reform and the Federal Communication Corporation's action on broadband. Those bonuses would apply to more than 100,000 employees that are eligible and not in executive roles. So there you go. That is in effect. And then you have Wells Fargo said that it would be boosting minimum wage for employees who earn $15 an hour. And then Fifth World, let me make sure if I'm reading this right, Fifth World will be raising their minimum wage as well to $15 an hour. Fifth World is another company to announce a bonus for its employees. So that makes 4 companies today, these large corporations, benefiting from this tax plan. So there you go. You think this tax plan is bad for you? Well, these corporations are looking at it like this. Because the tax rate is going down to 21%, and the man, I know one man who's happy about this if he read news like this. There's one man in the entire country today that should be smiling next to President Trump, and that is Larry Kudlow. Because Larry Kudlow has been talking about this for months, that you would see these effects start to take place. And they already are. And honestly, before I read this disturbing CNN article, I want to say this. And this is a big prediction for 2018. I really expect, and I've been saying this past year on this show, I really expect, because our economy has been booming for 13 months now, and I'm going to say 14 months, right, because Donald Trump was elected November 8th, 2016. So that makes 14 months, almost, of economic growth under Donald Trump. So, in a sense, looking at it like this, my big prediction for 2018 will be this. If the economy keeps boosting like this, and you see all these positive reports coming from Drudge Report and CNBC, Fox Business, Forbes, and all these other business websites. Oh, Bloomberg too, don't forget about them. And you see the market climbing, you see the Dow Jones climbing, you see people hiring, you see real estate having another good year like this year where people actually bought instead of rented, then you could see that 2018 is going to be another good year economically for the United States. And now that this tax bill was passed, it's very positive news. Very, very positive news. All right, so now to end the show today, let's read this disturbing CNN article that was posted on CNN.com, which was a lead headline today. And this is very disturbing. And I'm very worried about this. Democrats already have a wide advantage over Republicans in a hypothetical congressional matchup growing, according to a new CNN poll released today, conducted by SSRS. I don't even know who they are. I even look up the abbreviation. By Server Reporting Services. Okay, so I'm not even going to get into that. At the same time, enthusiasm about voting next year has increased among Democrats nationwide following an unexpected win for Doug Jones last week, beating Roy Moore. Strong support in Virginia's state government election last month. Among registered voters, 56% said that they favor a Democrat in their congressional district. 38% prefer a Republican. That 18-point edge is the widest Democrats have held in CNN polling on the 2018 largest at this point in midterm election cycles dating back to 2 decades. Wait a minute. I just realized something. CNN projected Hillary Clinton was going to win the election last year? I don't know. I'm still worried. Independents vote independents favor Democrats by a 16-point signal for a sec. The hissing in the background, so I figured I'll read it again. Independent voters favor Democrats by a 16-point margin, similar to the 50-36 margin in which they favored Democrats in the fall of 2005. Ooh. You know, I just realized something. Those numbers haunt me. Because that's when Pelosi was awarded the gavel the first time. So, does this possibly mean Pelosi could get the gavel back next year? I don't know. Well, all I'm going to say this, if you're a Republican right now, and you're to be voting for Congress, please, by all means, get out the vote next year. Make sure Pelosi doesn't get that gavel back. Because then the Make America Great Again agenda will be blocked, and President Trump can't get his job done. He's only had one major legislative victory today. There could be more. You gotta vote Republican. Otherwise, you're not going to see Trump get his work done. All right, so I'm going to end the show because I only have 2 minutes. No, I'll just read these quick numbers. Republican Party Party about third, 34% have a favorable view of the GOP, while 46% say the same about Democrats. Again, don't know what to say anymore. I read these numbers, I'm going to get a headache. That's where I'm going to end the show. So, thank you. An interesting show tonight without Frank. I was able to talk about stuff that I wanted to talk about. So, there we go. And again, Frank, if you're listening, I hope you're coming back next week before 2017 ends. So to close out the show, I am going to play the national anthem. I can't even find it. There we go. Bye, everyone.
Oh,